The C8 Z06 costs nearly twice as much as the C8 Stingray, and today we're going to decide if it's twice as good. Looking at the two cars in front of us, car number one is a 2020 C8 Stingray. This car is about as base as it gets for a C8. This car doesn't have mag ride, it doesn't have nose lift, no carbon. It is a Targa car, not a hardtop convertible. Across the board, about as base as it gets for one of these cars. Red over red, great example of an entry-level C8. Car beside it here is a 2025 3LT Z06 car. It doesn't have every option the Z06s are available with. No carbon ceramic brakes, does not have the factory carbon aero package along with the factory carbon wheels. Of course, the wheels have been replaced by these beautiful Vossen wheels instead anyways, but it didn't come with them from the factory. This car has a few modifications as well. Lowering springs, carbon lip, the door carbon, and of course the Vossen wheels. This car has a Borla S-type exhaust. Outside of that, both of these cars are factory and a great example of a higher loaded Z06 and a fairly basic load Stingray. Both of these cars are available for sale here at Adrenaline Exotics, where we both work. This car is listed at $85,000 Canadian. This car is listed at $200,000 Canadian. That meaning this car is over $100,000 more expensive than this car. This car has 670 horsepower. This car has 495. This car has a 5.5 liter flat plane crank V8 that sounds significantly better than this car with its 6.2 liter cross plane crank V8. Both cars are phenomenal. Both cars are mid-engine. If you are just a regular person, you're probably going to struggle to tell these two cars apart if you see them on the road. To the layperson, these cars do look very, very similar, but if we break it down, taking a peek at them, there is some pretty obvious differences to a car enthusiast. You can see the shape of the inlet on the side is different on here than it is on there. The hips and the stance of the Z06 is significantly wider than it is on the Stingray. And to be completely honest with you, in a lot of ways, this looks like an imitation of this. This car came out first, but this looks like the real thing. And at least to me, as somebody who's not the largest Corvette fan, this looks a lot less good. It looks a lot more like an imitation. If a guy does some different wheels, lowering springs, and a couple other goodies, these look way better, but at least in factory configuration, the Z06 is a significantly more aggressive looking car. If we take a seat in both of these cars, both cars feel very, very similar. You can see the door sill on this, of course, says Z06 versus on that it says Stingray. But taking a seat, the steering wheel is the same shape, the infotainment is all the same, the interior of the car is very, very hard to tell apart. Most of the Z06s are a little more loaded from the factory. There's more carbon options and Alcantara options available inside the interiors, but the cockpit is the same, the layout is the same. They're quite cool the way they have this very, very driver-focused setup, but it is the same despite the fact that this is over $100,000 more. And just to prove I'm not lying, as you guys can see, no carbon on the seats, but everything looks pretty similar. The steering wheel is similar shape, the other one is carbon. Part of that is the load level, part of that is the fact that this is a Stingray and not a Z06. But infotainment shape's all the same, the size of the cockpit is all the same, the room you have in the interior is all the same. This is a 2020, obviously a 2025, so there's a few more advancements inside that car, but overall, the interiors of these cars are not over $100,000 apart. We have moved the cars back to the front of Exotics here. We are about to go for a drive in the Stingray first. The Stingray was the introduction, the first variant of the C8, and it only makes sense that we go for a drive in that first. Sean is here with me and gonna be driver for this here a little bit. Let's hear this thing fire up. I will say, for something that is kind of American muscle at heart, like the 6.2 V8 in this car isn't much different than one you'd get in a Silverado 1500. It does sound pretty good. I don't know if I trust this or not, so we're going seatbelts on.
We're going seatbelts on, in fact, but we're not going this way. So my first impressions of the mirrors on this car is it looks stupid. They remind me of the lady from, what's that, freaking, not Despicable Me, that other, The Incredibles. Not relatable, but the lady that makes the outfits, it looks like her. That's what these mirrors be looking like. So anyways, no, her glasses, that does it, yep. So, other thing I realized immediately, the cabin has so much more space than any other mid-engine car. Really, it does. Like, they did very good. Good storage here. Cup holders right here. Like, it's good. The foot room's great, even on the passenger side, which most cars it's not. I realize it is always a first impression of any mid-engine car for me.
Okay. Honestly, for a non-flat plane V8, it sounds pretty decent. As an entry-level, like, exotic-esque car, she ain't bad.
The transmission feels amazing too, which it should. It's a very modern dual clutch transmission. It should feel as good as it does, but the transmission is fun for sure. It's kind of slow, I'm not gonna lie. I love the steering ratio, it's great. The car does feel like it has a good bit of body roll, and I'm not sure if the higher option cars are better for the base Stingray. But the brakes are great, the steering feels awesome for what it is. It's definitely well-rounded for the power. The rest of the chassis is almost better than the power. It feels underpowered a little bit.
Well, a good chunk of that too is the fact that he and I are very, very spoiled. We get to drive a little bit of everything under the sun, and a sub 500 horsepower mid-engine lightweight car is a quick car, but doesn't feel that crazy if you spend a bunch of time in them.
It's surprising how quiet this car is for having an exhaust. It's nothing crazy.
Not gonna lie, pretty darn impressive for base car, kind of boring V8, but what it is. It's an under $100,000 mid-engine car that is capable of moving like that. That's pretty impressive. Obviously, we got some wheel spin, but it still hooks up and goes pretty darn good.
There's a good bit of body roll for being a mid-engine car. The suspension's very soft even in track mode.
Well, and of course, it doesn't help either. I don't think that the suspension in this car, it doesn't do anything. Yeah, it doesn't do anything. If you get a Z51 pack car, it does, but in this, it does not. It is pretty impressive as well, with a kind of final note in the Stingray. Obviously, it is nice modern tech. If modern technology is what you're after in a car like this, the C8s are a great option. You can still get one with warranty, and you do get Apple CarPlay and nice digital displays and a secondary screen.
Yeah.
For the price bracket, you know, being sub $100,000 Canadian or around $100,000 Canadian, especially if you want one that's not a base 1LT, they do come with a lot of cool technology. It's a very new and very nice modern car. We're gonna hop in this now and go for a drive, see how it compares to the Stingray. Immediately getting in, this car does have quite a few more nice touches, and the sound is significantly better. Like, that car has an exhaust, this one is completely stock. But even in stock form with a Z06 versus a Stingray with an exhaust, the flat plane V8 in this sounds way better than the regular V8 in that. Immediately, I do like in this car compared to the Stingray, the touch points are a lot nicer. It's more about the load level than the fact that this is a Z06 and that is not. The Alcantara carbon paddles does make it a lot more enjoyable to drive. This car feels significantly more exotic. Like, I don't know, I am not the guy. If you're looking for somebody to call the C8 a supercar, it's not me. Personally, I do think they're great sports cars. The Z06 crosses that line a little bit more and kind of muddies the water a little bit more, but it is still a Corvette. They are still mass produced. You can still go to any Chevy dealership and get one kind of at any time. You know, it's a great car. It is kind of an exotic car, but a supercar, at least to me, crosses the line a little bit. That being said though, this is a lot more supercar-esque formula than that car. Makes great noise, especially for stock. Great noise. You can tell Corvette has really kind of tried to rebrand away from like old dudes in New Balances and towards the younger generation, towards, you know, kind of the more young demographic. There's a lot of young guys coming into money that are choosing these cars, but a big chunk of that is if you're not a car guy, you have a couple $100,000 to spend on something exotic This car comes with warranty, it's new, it has Apple CarPlay, all these things we've previously mentioned, but yet you don't have to have any of the reliability sacrifices that people perceive as you'd get with a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, a McLaren in the same price bracket, especially one out of warranty. I think the warranty that these cars come with is a very, very large selling point that gets a lot of people into them, because getting into an exotic car can be scary, especially if you're an idiot like me and go buy yourself a McLaren. If I wasn't able to work on my car myself and be creative, I would be in a significantly worse spot. This car kind of mitigates that. You buy one, it's probably going to be new enough that you can just take it to a Chev dealer, say this is your guys' problem, and have them fix it. I've said it before and I'll say it again. So I've driven a couple Z06s now. I don't think that it feels as fast as it's supposed to, for sure. For a 670 horsepower car, it does feel slow comparatively. It's not a slow car, but for a car that's advertised as like a 2.5, 2.6, 0 to 60, along with the 670 NA horsepower, it doesn't feel that potent. It still sounds great. It's still a very quick car. It's quick enough to be fun. The handling is great, especially like feeling how planted this car is in comparison to the base C8. It does feel a lot better, but that's kind of what this car is set up for. This is set up to be the more track-oriented, angry car, the car that has the performance to back up the, you know, the looks and the sound and the feel. Like, the C8 Stingray is a great car in comparison to this. If you're just looking for something that has the look that gets you kind of the attention and whatever else, the C8 Stingray is great. Overall, this car is not $120,000 better than that car. It just isn't. It has more to offer, and if you're the guy shopping, there is reasons to buy this for $120,000 more than the other car. It just so happens that it doesn't quantify them. And we've talked about this before, where marketable value and value you get with a car can often be two different things. You know, part of it is that this is a newer car, and that does contribute. But the other bit is, it's just what a Z06 is worth versus what a Stingray is worth. And the reality of it is, a Z06 and a Stingray are not $100,000 of value apart. It's really hard to tell, because they do feel so similar from the inside. Yeah. If you look at them from the outside, the Z06 looks way better. 120 grand better? I don't know. Significantly better, but it just depends. Like, if you're looking at this as like a stretch opportunity or not, and you're like, okay, do I buy a Stingray or do I stretch the extra bit to get the Z06 if a Corvette is what your heart is set on? I don't know. Personally, I would argue that getting a Stingray is probably the better call. Flip side of that though, if you are not budget conscious and you're just trying to decide whether it is worth spending the extra money to get the better car, it probably is. If you're dead set on the opposite side, if you're dead set on a Corvette and the money doesn't matter to you as much, this is a significantly better car and a car worth owning. Both cars are likely to depreciate a bit, but I think they will probably depreciate at a similar rate. I think the depreciation factor in owning the two cars isn't going to affect your cost of ownership that much. Both cars, you're probably going to lose some money. That's just the reality of it. But I think the amount of money lost will be quite similar. It's just whether it's worth it to you to tie up the extra 100, 120 grand versus keeping it in your pocket. And in my opinion, if tying up the extra 100, 120 grand is able to be done for you and doesn't affect your life much, I think it is worthwhile. This is a better car, this is a better sounding car, and this fits in a completely different class. Like, the C8 Stingray is a great introductory car to the exotic car world. If you're wanting something American and properly exotic, your options are kind of this or a Viper ACR, right? Like, this is a exotic-esque car. It is a mid-engine, flat plane crank V8, high horsepower, great sounding car. Does that make it a supercar? It's a completely different conversation, but I do think it is worth the money if the money is affordable. Right, we're gonna do a little launch here and see how this feels compared to the launch in the other car. I don't know if we got a perfect launch in the other car or not, but it did give us kind of a feeling, and it was pretty aggressive. Ready?
so much better than the other car.
It does.
Like the other car just spins right out, and I think these rear wheels are substantially bigger on this car.
They are, and I think I don't know how much more advanced this is. I know the suspension's more advanced. This car does have more to give, but in the exact same sentence, to be completely honest with you, the other car experienced some spin. They feel very similar. Like the launch wasn't like, oh my gosh, this launch is twice as hard as the other car. I still maintain that this car does not feel like it is a 2.5 second to 60, 670 horsepower car. It's a great sounding car, it's a very quick car, but it doesn't feel as quick as it's supposed to me. Because these are, like, it's still a great car, they're still fantastic for what they are. Performance-wise, it's very similar to what a Lamborghini Huracan is. Like, at least in, you know, seat of your pants, it feels very similar to a Huracan. In summary, the main factor to me that dictates whether you should buy a C8 Stingray or a C8 Z06 is just budget. If you're trying to stay budget conscious, just go get yourself a Stingray. The Stingray is still 80 to 90% the car that this is. They still look great with a couple basic modifications, and they are still a really great car. If budget friendliness isn't something you're super conscious of though, this is still worth it to buy. It is still a better sounding car, a better looking car. It just depends if the extra cost to allocate in buying the car is worth it to you. This is Code 3 Media. Thank you guys very much for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all those good things. Have a great day.